case you haven't heard, there is an event in town that is bringing all the local entrepreneurs and beyond together to mastermind, network, and learn about sales and growing their business and establishing a dominating online presence. We are all gathering here on Bear Mountain, New York, very exclusive location. And so far, the people that I have met, the people that I've shaken hands with, it's been such an amazing time. So much value is being dispersed and everybody's learning, taking notes, just capitalizing on this amazing opportunity. And I'm so happy that we're here at the Conversion Summit, getting together, networking, learning, so that we can go out into the world, apply, and become richer, powerful, more connected than we've ever been before. Super excited for this event. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Yeah? Super happy that we were capable of... Get on in here, Zach. We missed you, bro. Glad that we all made it happen and we got together. We're networking. I've been hearing a lot of interesting conversations, and this is what it's about, right? Obviously, you guys are learning a ton of things where, Brian's sharing about sales, David about marketing, so today I'm going to get into sales as well, but I want to go ahead and more share of my personal story on how I got into real estate, what that timeline looks like, where I'm at now. And I want you guys to do your best to just place yourself in your own specific situation and understand really where you are, where you're aiming to go, and have as many questions as possible, right? Because we're also going to get into the Q&A right after this. Cool? Good. So obviously my name is Jose Rodriguez, all right? I've been in real estate. I do a bunch of other things that keep me active, like lifting weights, boxing. Those are two things that I love doing, right? And I started in the real estate game back in March 2018. That's when I got my license, right? So the reason why I decided to get my real estate license was because I looked around my environment and I noticed that there weren't a lot of people that were actually taking action, right? Me and Danny were just speaking about this, how you can get into certain environments where you feel like you're the biggest fish in the pond, right? And you have this mindset, but then also you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are just talking about it, which we like to call dreamers, but none of them are actually taking action, right? So when you place yourself in a room like this around other professionals that are actually moving forward, actually doing things, actually making an impact in the world, you start to realize, wow, where have I been this whole time? How come I didn't find out about this earlier? And then you continue to place yourself in these rooms, networking, building relationships. That's exactly what I did once I got my real estate license and even before. In fact, you guys will see shortly, I started networking back in 2017, and that was like a year before I got my real estate license. I was already going to meetups locally that you guys could all search up that could potentially speak about your own industry and what you guys do, that you can connect yourself with more people like you. And I think that that's one of the most powerful things because that's what helped me scale my real estate business, right? Learning as much as possible, shaking hands with other people that are creating an impact, like I was saying. So when I got into the real estate business and I got my license, I was surprised how much knowledge I already knew because I was already positioning myself, getting ready and preparing for when I got my license, right? So I wanted to create a difference. And the reason why I got into real estate sales specifically is because I didn't want to have a cap on my head, right? It's about how much money I'm capable of making, my performance, what I can do. And I'm the type of guy that regardless of what field you put me into, if it's a competitive environment, I'm going to thrive, right? And I knew that about myself. So I specifically chose to place myself. I had a friend, right? He was like, oh, are you sure you want to do that, bro? Like, that's very competitive, man. I heard that like 90% of real estate agents fail their first 2 years. I was like, oh, that's great. So what did I do with that information? I just reframed it, right? All right, so that means that the 10% that are actually doing well are going to be more noticeable because everybody else seems to be failing. So then I'm just going to keep my eyes out for the guys that are actually doing well and surround myself with those guys, right? So for a long period of time, actually 2 weeks before I got my real estate license, I joined a mastermind right away. Even before I got my license, I joined a mastermind, paid for it here. And these days, so many people, oh, I don't know if I should do this. And then they're spending their money on all this other bullshit that's not benefiting them, right? So immediately, boom, all right, he was having this event, flew to California, met him. Other people, oh, you're crazy. You're spending all this money on education and this and that. You guys might be at the point where you guys pretty much understand, like, yeah, you got to pay to play. And it's actually valuable that I can pay to surround myself with these people that I would probably not meet just walking down the street. You know, so I was very, very invested in my education. 2018, I started no real sales background, right? And I was just diving in, working on my communication. I was, 18, 19 when I got my real estate license. None of my friends were buying or selling houses. My oldest brother was, so shout out to him, right? Because he's the one that actually planted the seed of something that I could potentially do, a vehicle that could inspire me to do something bigger than I was already doing, right? So March 2018, I got my real estate license. May 2018, I purchased my first flip, right? So somebody may say, oh, well, you know, that's only a few months later after you got your real estate license. How are you able to make that happen so quickly? Well, again, I remind you guys, in 2017, I was already networking. I was already planting seeds. I was already stepping into these environments, right? And creating these relationships that ended up growing into these amazing opportunity trees, right? So May 2018, I purchased my first flip. It was with my brother Kevin, my oldest brother Eric, who's now in Houston, killing it in real estate, and myself. So I purchased my first flip through a connection that we had, right? Somebody that we've met that saw us, liked us, trusted us, and wanted to see us genuinely grow. This guy wasn't even in the real estate business. He was just practically like, I like you guys are doing something great. Maybe even saw us as his own sons and was like, listen, I want to see you guys succeed, right? Cool. Took that opportunity and ran with it. And you will be surprised how many people actually want to help a healthy cause. And that's where you have to come from. It's not just about a transaction. It's not just about a deal. It's about coming from a place where somebody can believe in your vision, because that's how you sell. You're selling yourself, you're selling your vision, you're selling an opportunity, right? So May 2018, I purchased my first flip. You know what? Let me go back on that, because I want to speak a little bit about this transition. When I first started as a licensed agent, the tactic that I was utilizing was I was cold calling and door knocking. That's how I was going about getting leads, right? So I was going on the phones, 7 a.m., first guy to show up in the office, role playing, right? 2 hours a day, every single day, making calls from 8 to 12. That was my schedule. 7 a.m., get in there, role play 8 to 12, lunch, role play a little bit more, cold call again, or door knock, right? If I didn't have any listing appointments, if I didn't have any client opportunities, if I didn't have any appointments at all, I'm gonna just make more calls, you know? What else is there to do, right? So I was getting bashed on the phones the first 6 months. And actually, I was still technically part-time, right? Because I had this other job. So in the beginning, actually, I wasn't able to afford myself that schedule. And I felt prey onto the safety net that I had with this other job, because I was receiving consistent income, right? Every 2 weeks I would get paid. And I said to myself, man, like this is too safe, right? I need to really feel that fire. I need to place myself in a position where I'm giving myself no way out and it's up to me to make it happen. That was my strategy, right? And that's exactly what I did. So August of 2018, I went full time. And I was like, you know what? I have some money in my savings, maybe like $3,000 to $5,000. I don't care. I'm just gonna go out there and make it happen. By the time it got to September, November, right? I was already, broke basically. I didn't have shit in my bank account, to the point where I had to drive my dad's cab to just pay the bills that I had, right? And that's the kind of man that I am, because I'm not just gonna leave it to my family for them to provide me a cushion. No, I'm gonna figure it out. So I started driving my dad's cab just to make enough money to pay for my bills, pay for my dialer, pay for my CRM, just to keep my business going consistently, And 2 weeks in, I get into a car accident, right? It was a rainy day. My dad had it was like a 2003 Toyota Corolla, which I, in fact, think that it ended up working out for him because the insurance company paid him more than what he could sell it for. That's just me. I really do think that was a great thing. But anyways, that happened, and just in time for me to have enough money where I can pay my bills. Because after that week, I had my first closing. And it's funny how that happens, right? 6 to 8 months of consistent work. And some people may say to themselves, man, I'm not making any money. Man, why am I not making any deals? Man, why do I feel like I'm quote unquote stuck? Yet you're only looking at the metric of financial gains. But what about the metric of the relationships that you're building, the relationships that you're nurturing? What about that metric? What about the metric of your skills, which you're actually equipping yourself with so that then you could become a more lethal salesperson, right? And I'm going to go through more detail with that. 2019, purchased 14 units, right? So between my first year, I only made like 20 grand as a salesperson, barely made anything. Second year, finally broke 6 figures, purchased my 14 units. One was a multifamily. It was a legal 2 unit, but we transformed it into a 4 unit. And then another one was a commercial multifamily that was 10 units in New Jersey, right? So again, I was just hustling, making connections, shaking hands with other investors, and then little by little, I'll get into the story of how we actually purchased that multifamily. 2020 to 2021. So again, towards the end of December, that's when I purchased it. So it was leading into 2020. 2020 to 2021, that's actually when I made my first 6 figures in sales. I became the rookie of the year, selling $6 million worth of real estate. All right, guys. And then I hit my first $1 million in equity, started the BFP network, which is my private, you can say, coaching program, and also network, where I do my best to help out other men, right? And this was a really big year for me, 2020, 2021, right? Ending of 2019, because that was the year where I actually saw like a lot of money, right? Like I remember the instant that, for example, when we refinanced this property that we bought here, the commercial property, I remember when the money hit my account, right? And I was like, holy shit, bro. This is crazy. Like I'm used to, 5-figure checks, 6 figures. Holy shit, bro. We're making some real fucking money now, right? And then we started to scale. Now we're receiving cash flow from this property. Now we're looking into doing bigger things. We've established great reputation, relationships with the people that we're already working with, right? So things started to really go for me during that time. 2021 to 2022, I purchased 2 development deals, 1 single family in a 9-unit new construction in New Jersey. So 2021 to 2022, that's when we purchased, actually, I believe we purchased both of these houses, right? 2021 to 2022, we purchased the lot next door, and then 2022 to 2023, we purchased this property and another 10-unit building. So I just want you guys to see the time, you could say the timeline with everything that I'm doing, right? Always doing more, always pushing myself to do more, never staying stagnant, never staying complacent. Were there times where I felt like I was falling a little bit behind the ball and I had to motivate myself and inspire myself and put myself back in the race? Of course. However, I did my best to minimize those times, because the shorter that I can shrink that, the more that I'll be able to grow, right? So I did my best to keep this consistent every single year, doing more, every single year. I don't give a fuck who was around me, right? Oh, but you should be happy with what you have. No, fuck that. I want to do more, because I don't know what I'll need in the future. So I'm going to do as much as I can, right? And that was my mentality, and it still is. 2023 to 2024, finished the 9-unit building in Orange, New Jersey, started construction on the 10-unit in Newark. So there's a lot of things that happened, and like I was having a conversation with somebody here, right? And people may look at all of these things and say, wow, you're living such a tremendous life. Like you're doing all these different things. But I want you guys to know that every single level that you're in is going to come with its own problems. Every single level. And it's up to you to figure it out. You cannot be lazy about these things and just, throw your hands up and just expect for somebody to configure it for you. It's just never going to work that way. You have to actually challenge yourself and ask yourself the right questions. Place yourself in the right rooms, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Don't ever be that guy that's entering a room and feels like he's the shit and so arrogant that he can't talk to anybody. You don't know what you don't know. I may have a conversation with somebody here that I would have never thought could have possibly taught me something, right? You don't know what you don't know. Cool. Quick question for everybody here. What do you think my first job was? Somebody that doesn't know me. Waiter? Okay.
Vaquero.
Huh?
Vaquero.
Oh man, I wish, bro.
Restaurant.
Huh?
Construction. Construction.
Oh, construction? Okay.
Said you were at a restaurant, customer service.
Restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which restaurant?
I don't know.
Yeah?
You said it before, I can't remember.
Sophia? No, I'm joking.
Something to do with cars?
Okay.
Wasn't it like Chuck E. Cheese?
Might have been, bro. I threw some banging ass birthday parties. Mickey D's. Come on, guys. Mickey D's. Started from the bottom, now we're here. You know what I mean? Mickey D's, bro. I was flipping them burgers, you know? So every time Tay talks about, oh, these guys flipping, somebody needs to flip. I was that guy flipping the burgers at one point in my life, right? And just something that I just share with Brian that we have in common is I also got fired from Mickey D's, right? I also got fired. And actually, I don't even think that I got fired for the right reason because everybody's going to say that, right? But I ended up finding out that the manager that worked at the time ended up getting arrested like 2 months later for stealing money from the cash register. The motherfucker's so stupid, bro. He pulled in with a brand new Benz the next day. Yeah. Yeah, weird shit happens at McDonald's, guys. That's why I don't go there anymore. 7 critical questions to ask yourself, okay? So I'm going to need some volunteers as I go through this list, all right? First question is, what is your why?
Me specifically, it's my parents. It took me a long time to figure it out, but it moves me when I talk about it because they left everything behind to come to this country. You know, my mom was a teacher, my dad was an engineer, cashed out his pension, everything. We slept on the floor coming here, so that's definitely my why.
Wow, man. I could definitely relate to that, bro. I came here, didn't have anything. It was just an opportunity and just a reason to make it happen. Hell yeah. Next question. What would happen if you did, and what would happen if you didn't? Right? We all have visions. We all have things that we want to do. Volunteers, anybody. What would happen if you did, and what would happen if you didn't? What would happen if you did? What would happen if you didn't?
Well, if I do, and what I want to do is, of course, accrue a large amount of finances in manners that genuinely make a positive impact in the world that allow me to take care of my family and then my community at large. But if I do, then we all make it. And love and peace and happiness occurs at least around me and where I'm able to impact. And if I don't, then cycles of suffering and then poverty and unwellness exist more so than they will otherwise. And at a larger scale, if I don't, someone else will. So
Exactly. Why not you? Exactly. Yeah, I love that, man. I asked that question because I want you guys to put it into perspective, because every single day you're waking up, and I know that most of us, right? We're all young. We're all, healthy. We're all doing things that we can still have the energy to do. But the days are going by, right? The world is spinning. We're all getting older. My parents are getting older, right? And I always think about that. If I do, then I have an opportunity to make an impact even in their lives and be able to pay them back as much as I possibly can for granting me this opportunity of being here, right? If I don't, then, I would be disappointed in myself because I had the chance. I'm alive. I'm here, right? Why not? Right? So I would recommend you guys write these down, and then we'll talk about these towards the end, right? Who do you want to become? Who do you have to become, actually? Who do you have to become? Wake up every single day, look at yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, who do I have to become? Who am I today? If I'm looking at a map and I'm looking at the GPS, where am I? Where am I? And where do I have to go? Right? Who do I have to become? Put it into perspective. It's the self-work, it's the inner work that then when you're out there, you actually understand what you're doing, what your mission is, right? How are you going to become, right? What are the action steps? What are the plans? What are the things that you're going to do every single day to get closer to that vision, to get closer to being that person, right? Because it's the person that has that. Who is that? Somebody's doing it. Why? When are you going to start? Are you going to start today? Are you going to start tomorrow? Are you going to start a week from now? Are you going to wait till 2025 to make a New Year's resolution and then eventually make something happen? No. Start today. Today's the day. Today. Even if it's as little as scheduling something that you're going to do, at least you're consciously putting some effort into it. Start today. And then momentum upwards, always. And what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? Friends? Habits? That version of yourself that you now realize after looking at yourself in the mirror, reflecting upon who you are, where you're going, is no longer serving you? Who do you have to become? What are you willing to sacrifice to become that person? For me, it was everything. Everything. Because whatever I needed to sacrifice to become that person did not belong in my life in the first place. So it was everything. Everything. Whatever doesn't align, gone. This was me in October 2017, right? After my first networking event at my parents' house, right? Just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that picture because, again, people may look at somebody now like where they're at, but they forget everything that they've been through, all the rooms that they stepped into, all the warrior scars that you've had to accumulate through the path, right? If I could do it, bro, anybody can fucking do it as long as they work for it. Tan? Yeah, I know, bro. I gotta go to Miami soon with this guy. What did I do to break my first 6 figures? All right, so let's go ahead and get into making money. Change my environment. Private coaching networking, I talked about that. Also Bold, which was a program within the brokerage that I was with, where we got together. We had, basically what we did was accountability, right? Brian was talking about accountability. It's huge, right? We basically, all we did was we got together, we role played, we went over our scripts, we kept track of how many people we were calling a day, how many contacts we were making, how many appointments we were setting, how many appointments we were going on, how many appointments we got canceled on, how many appointments we actually got a listing on, or we actually, closed on, how many we didn't. We basically got together and put in the conscious effort of tracking our numbers, because whatever you're going to track is going to grow if you want it to, right? So those are some of the environments that I put myself into. And the great thing about environments like this is they're going to set a specific standard, right? And if everybody else is meeting it and you're the only one that's not, you're going to feel some type of way about that. The standard for Bold was 20 contacts a day. That was the standard, 20 contacts a day. And I just ran with that. But here's the thing. They had something called Bold 100, right? Where if you spoke to like 100 contacts a day, like that was like, I don't know, they give you like a fucking star or something, or like, but it wasn't about that. It was more about like, all right, like this is what they're saying, that's the highest thing, I'm gonna go for it. If you have that personality, bro, I did 3 Bold 100s, right? And there was times, bro, where, all right, I would just schedule the whole day to prospect, and I got like 60 contacts over the phone, and I took my business cards to Home Depot, and I was just talking to people, talking to them, making friends, networking in Home Depot, handing out cards, getting contact information, right? And then eventually I got kicked out because, the solar panel guy was like looking at me weird. So environment is huge. Relentlessly educating myself, right? Placing yourself in a room like this. Again, educating yourself relentlessly. You're never too big to learn. Script practice for 2 hours Monday through Friday for the first 2 years, right? 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Cold calls for 4 hours a day. A lot of people say cold calling is dead, but I genuinely don't think so, right? If I'm speaking to you on the phone, it's going to be better than you reading some words on a screen, right? Is it more leverage than not? That's a different question, but I'm still going to make a sale, right? And scale from there. Hosted open houses every weekend. So this is niche, you could say, to my specific field, but I want you guys to think about what it is in your specific field that you can potentially maximize, do more of than everybody else. Because if you could do that, then you're going to win. It's literally that fucking simple, right? Just pay more attention and focus on what it is that you're doing, and you're going to see yourself elevating in every single fucking way. First one in, last one out. I talked about it. Was in there at 7 o'clock on Friday nights. At 8 o'clock, I was still on the phones following up with people. What do you think the perception of that is on the receiver end of getting that call? Shit, bro, it's Friday night and you're still making phone calls? You must be committed. Shit, bro, it's Christmas and you're still following up with me? Some people may be like, and I've gotten this, bro, like it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Why are you calling me so early? It's like, well, if I'm calling you at 8 o'clock and I'm the first one calling you, what does that tell you about my work ethic? Wouldn't you want an agent that's relentlessly working hard for you, just the same way that I'm calling you right now? It's about the reframe.
If it was easy, everyone else would do it.
If it was easy, everybody else would do it. And the same thing with the holidays. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. I actually sold a house $25,000 over asking on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. Like, why are you this and that? It's like, well, wouldn't you want an agent that's willing to work even through the holidays for you and have your best interest in mind? It's about reframe. It's about reframe. Regardless of what they tell you, there's a better frame that you can attach to it. Dressed for success and took care of my appearance. All right? Ever since I found out that, wearing a nice suit and taking care of yourself, being properly groomed, in my specific field, right, that's what it took. For example, if you're in fitness, shit, bro, there's all these things that you can do to show off your gains. People will naturally notice. Like, I'm not even a fitness coach, so to speak, right? But what I can tell you guys is one of my specific clients, I was showing him a house and I was wearing, it was a pretty tight shirt, right? And he noticed, like, oh, like, yo, like you're super fit, man. Like, I see that you take care of yourself. I wanna know like what you do, like, cause I'm trying to get myself in shape. Now it's been 3 weeks of us getting up every single day at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, hitting the gyms. And he's already lost 7 pounds, right? So I know what I did. I could teach you a couple of things. Yeah, let's do it, bro, right? So dressed for success and took care of my appearance. So the point of that example is when people see that you're actually doing the things that you're doing, it says something about you. When I pull up in the Audi and it's nice and I'm also coming out with a suit and I don't look like a bum, oh, this guy looks like he actually sells houses. You know what I mean? Now, there's ways around it if you don't have that yet, but that's just something to keep in mind. And I told everybody what I was doing. I wasn't a secret agent, right? I was telling everybody what I was doing. Actually, in fact, my first deal, which I'll speak about in a little bit, it was because I was telling everybody what I was doing, even from the very beginning, even before I got my real estate license. I was sharing with the world, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to have it in the next 3 months. Who do you know that I could potentially connect to my mentor or to the person I'm working with now that we can help you with, in real estate? Just being active, not being scared of, oh, what if I don't know what to say? And what if they ask me a question I don't know? My attitude was, listen, I'm either going to know the answer, and if I don't, I'm going to find out. That's it. Just relax, you know what I mean? I played to my strengths, my age. Bro, so many people, oh, I'm young, people are not going to take me serious, this and that. That was my superpower, bro. That was my superpower. I was this young, enthusiastic gentleman that walked in with a suit, carried himself well, was very personable, was confident. That was my superpower. What do you think all the connections that I was making from people that were making way more money than me, what do you think they saw in me? You didn't think that at one point in their life they were at a specific place where they were like, holy shit, bro, this guy's doing everything I wish I could have done when I was, or this guy's actually following in my footsteps when I was his age. They want to collab with you because they see themselves in you. And that's actually part of the reason why I got my first 10-unit property. And I'll share that story in a little bit. I structured my days. I time blocked, right? So you guys heard me speak about time blocking, right? In the mornings, I would get in. Typically, I would work out at 5, get in at 7, role play, 8 o'clock to 12. I would make calls. And when I was doing these things, whatever that looks like for you, 100% consciousness into it. 100%. Don't allow yourself to be distracted or be sidetracked by these other things. If it's an emergency or if it's certain things, of course, like you got to do what you got to do. However, what I did to make sure that I kept my focus and kept on track with the things that I had to do was I had a tasks list, right? So I had 5 critical tasks that I kept track with. And then I had, if something came up while I was doing these things, right, whether it will be my prospecting or whatever it is that I was doing, if something came up, I would just write it down. I wouldn't just deviate 100% of my focus to then stop this and do this and not finish that and then realize that I have something else and then stop this and then do this and then never be able to finish anything throughout the day and feel busy but not productive, right? You got to be productive. It's better. That was me, Rookie of the Year, number 8 in my office, top individual closed unit, 2019, all right? Sold 16 units that year. That's me right here. Everybody else.
It's a lot of girls.
You know what I mean? Nah. I'm joking.
What firm was that?
That was Keller Williams. So I was top 8 of that year out of 250 agents around there. The youngest guy there. Look, it's me. That's impressive. No, I'm joking. How did I acquire my first client? Okay, so I wanted to actually speak about this because, again, it goes back to now being a secret agent. I was at the Men's Warehouse store, and I was going to buy my first suit, right? Because I'd never owned a suit in my life. So I walked in there, and the gentleman, his name was Alex, was also very young. And we had a conversation. I told him I was in real estate. He told me that he just, started as a salesperson at Men's Warehouse. We connected. And then he told me, well, actually, my mom is actually looking to purchase a house, but she's already working with somebody. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, how's it going? Is she satisfied? She was like, actually, they've been looking for a while. They really don't like the way that, it's going. So we could exchange information to keep in touch. And that's exactly what we did, right? A few months later, I actually managed to help them buy a house. And now still to this day, they remember that. They thank me for it, and they refer me clients. Just from me letting him know, like, hey, I'm doing this. That's it. It's that simple. Be all right with being that person. It's okay to just let somebody know what you do. That's the only way that they're actually going to see how you can help them, right? So that was my first client, Men's Warehouse. Second client, video message after open house, right? So this is something that you guys could do, right? You meet somebody at the gym, you help them out with something, you exchange information. Then the next day, you send them a video of you doing something. It's like, hey man, I thought about you when I was doing this, whatever. It could be anything. For me, I was at an open house. They told me that they wanted to sell their house. I wasn't able to set the appointment at that moment, but once they left, I sent them a video. I just said, hey Patricia, it was so nice to meet you. Anything that I could do for you guys, please let me know. And that was really it. And then they said, oh, well, actually, why don't you come over, right? And then I ended up selling their house within 48 hours for $30,000 over asking. And that's how it started. Now I'm building my reputation. I'm building my name. And a lot of the things that I got from all of these clients were, wow, Jose, you're so personable. Just be okay to just be loose and talk to people. It's all right. Don't be so stuck on the judgments that everybody has on you. Oh, I don't want this person to think of me as this way. Fuck that, bro. You're assuming. Most people are so focused on themselves. They're not thinking about you. What was the most boring job I had? Anybody want to guess? Most boring job I worked at. Fuck, bro. Anybody want to guess?
What, that McDonald's job?
Nah, it wasn't at McDonald's. Although that McDonald's job was pretty boring. But it got lit in the back, I'm not going to lie. What's that? Nah, I don't know, man. I can't talk about those times. Anybody want to guess? No? All right. Verizon? Shit, bro. Nah, Verizon. Yo, you're going with the stereotype, I know the hookah guy, the Verizon guy. Oh my God. Nah, bro. You guys probably would never guess though. It was fucking Sears, bro. Most boring job I had, bro. I remember Christmas, man. I mean, it was just old people and Christmas trees, and I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. That was it. Prospecting. Script, I talked about this, right? Script practicing, role playing, building your database, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody, do you have a CRM that you're actually plugging these people into? Or are you just having a conversation with them and then just forgetting about these people, right? You're building an actual business. That's your business. If I wanted to sell my real estate sales business, I would be selling my database. Just like when a doctor sells their practice, they sell their database, right? You're selling your database. That's what's worth something, your CRM. So collect names, collect phone numbers, collect emails, and then develop a system where you can continuously follow up with them. For me, I had a hot lead, right? A hot lead is anybody that's looking to do anything within the first 7 days. A warm lead is anybody that's looking to do something within the first 30 days. A team, anybody that's looking to do anything within the first 3 months. B team, 6 months. C team, a year. D team, anything 2 years and above. And then I would have a specific way of following up with them. A hot lead, anybody that's looking to do something within 7 days, why don't I have an appointment with them? Why don't I have an appointment with them? So I would follow up with those people every single day until I do, right? Warm leads, I would basically call them once a week, right? Until I schedule an appointment. And I want to get you guys to really understand where I'm going with this. The calls are more about building relationships with the other person, really understanding what their wants and needs are. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But just for the database aspect of it, I had a specific system, right? And then now, like I send newsletter emails every single day, right? Newsletter emails every single day, I'm going to need their emails to do that, right? If you guys want a rule of thumb, simple rule of thumb is whenever they tell you that they're going to be ready, just cut that day in half. So if they tell you 6 months, 3 months, you know. But the good thing is that you have all this time to build an even better relationship with them, because it's not so much about that specific individual, but it's also about all their friends and everybody else that they could put you on with, right? So think about it like that. Think about it more long term. Build a database. Follow up religiously. It's something about making the call or making the first contact, but then most people, they fall off after that. So it's like this specific point was worthless because you're not following up. Now you're following up. Now they need a specific piece of information from you. Are you going to actually follow through, which is the next thing, right? So a lot of people don't make it through these 3 stages. They just call them if they even are willing to get on the phone with them or even approach them and have a conversation with them. But after that, how are you going to follow up with them? And then how are you going to follow through and actually deliver on your promises and on who you say you are and what you're going to do for them, right? Door knocking was another way of prospecting. I was going out and man, that shit builds character. You know, you're fucking talking to people, you're getting cursed out, or you're getting invited into their homes and you're having a great conversation with them, building more relationships. Just be able to do whatever the fuck it takes. Comes down to that. Content. It's another thing, right? So back to, I want to go ahead and quickly talk about this, right? Because it's more than just one thing, right? It's not just one thing. As you guys can see, there's a variety of things that I'm sharing with you here, right? And following up, cold calling, door knocking, content. Imagine if I was doing all of these, right? I called them or I door knocked them, right? Made an impression. I got their information. We kept in touch because I followed up with them. Now they also got a call from me. On top of that, now they're seeing me on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. They're going to see me as somebody that's like an expert in the field. Like, who is this guy? He's everywhere. So when it's time for them to make a decision, they're going to go with me. When I bought that 10-unit building, actually, I had a great conversation with the guy because I knew a lot about my product, right? I knew exactly what I was doing, and he felt that. I was giving him value up front because he was really interested in this specific deal that I helped him buy. I knew so much about the owner, their situation, what they were looking to do, even to the point where if you guys are familiar with real estate, sometimes there are specific tenants in the property and they're going to want cash for keys to get the fuck out. So I had a great relationship with the tenant and I was able to do that for them, you know? So I got them out, and on top of that, when I sent them an email as I was just, you know, transacting with them, he saw my YouTube handle on the email signature and he clicked on it. And then he saw me doing a video about real estate. Don't know exactly what video it was, but it was a video. And then he said, oh, wow, man, you remind me of me when I was younger. It's exactly what he said. And guess what? We were sitting in his car one day, and he was telling me, man, like, we're talking about, like, what our strengths are, what we're doing, and how we could potentially do business. And then I said, yeah, man, like, if we do a deal, that'll be great. And he's like, no, not if, when. 2 weeks later, we were already working on our first deal together. And that ended up being a commercial property that we bought for $800,000. We were all in at 1.3 and a half. And then it ended up appraising for 2.8, right? So that was how I made my first $1 million in equity, right? It's interesting how your life can change so drastically if you're doing all these little things, because you never know where it may come from. Just fucking do it all, right? Tips on improving your conversation rate, your conversion rate. Lead with confidence. When you're having a conversation with somebody, you want to be the leader. You want to be the person that's actually confident. And that doesn't mean that you're not allowing them to answer questions or just dominating the conversation. No, it's actually the complete opposite. Ask questions, seek to understand them. However, be confident in your communication and what it is that you're saying. Your tonality, your demeanor, your body language, right? Be confident in the conversations. Lead with confidence. Be enthusiastic. People can feel the energy in the room. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you come off as boring or you don't really like what you're doing or you yourself are not interested in what you're talking about, then how do you expect them to be interested? Be interested in what you're doing, and then they'll be interested almost by default, right? Wow, what is this? Have you ever seen somebody, you're just walking around anywhere, it could be at the mall, and you just see somebody like excited, like, oh my God, and like they're hugging each other, and like maybe they're celebrating. Your attention instantly just kind of gets drawn to that. Even if it's for like 5 or a couple seconds, like you kind of ask yourself like, oh, what are they doing? What are they celebrating? It's the same thing with everything, right? They're gonna become curious, and you need curiosity because then you could go ahead and dig deeper, right? Call them by their name, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody, utilize their name because people love to hear their name and they also love to talk about themselves. So practice that, right? Practice calling people by their name. And all of these things, I was integrating it into my scripts, just letting you guys know. Active listening, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody, don't start to think about so much of, oh my God, what am I going to say? Listen to them. Listen to what the person's saying. You'll find out what you need to say by just listening to them and ask questions, right? Active listening. There may be certain things that they may say to you that may help you understand their situation without them even saying it. That's why you got to actively listen. Just be present with them, and you'll understand that you'll be able to resonate more with what they're telling you and help them. Repeat and affirm. So now that you've been actively listening and they've given you an example, now you can utilize usually the last couple words that they've used or summarized, paraphrase whatever they said, repeat it and affirm with them, right? So somebody tells me, yeah, Jose, I'm actually looking to downsize. It's just me and my wife. The kids moved out, and we're just looking to retire and go to Florida. Oh, okay, wow, that's so nice. So you're looking to downsize. The kids are already out the house. You guys just want to retire in Florida. Wow, that sounds amazing. Boom. Next thing. Repeated and affirmed, right? Next question. So now what is that going to do? That's going to let them know that you're acknowledging them and you're actually listening to them. These little things happen unconsciously, right? Ask questions that will help you understand what they want, right? What they want. Oh, I'm selling it for sale by owner, Jose. I'm not interested. The one agent could be like, oh, well, if you sell it for sale by owner, then you're going to lose out on 12% because for sale by owners, on average, sell for 12% less. Then it's like, bro, they don't give a fuck. They don't even know you. They don't care what you're saying to them. They don't care. But instead, what do I say to them? I say, oh, okay, cool. What's important to you about selling it for sale by owner? I want to know why. Not just what they're telling me. I want to understand why they're doing it, right? Close with confirmation question that bridges what their goals are based on what they said with your offer, right? So something that I like, so now you're asking them all of these questions and now you're receiving feedback, right? So let's say they're saying, oh, well, I want to sell for sale by owner because I want to save the commission, right? Let's say that's a specific objection that they have. Well, then I'll simply say to them, well, I understand that you want to save the commission. Now, what's most important for you? The commission that you save or the money that you net? So now I'm reframing, right? I'm shifting their perspective to look not here because this is narrower and I'm expanding it for them, right? So I'm expanding their perspective. It's not just what they're telling me. It's about the overview of the picture in whole. So then that's a way where you can now, they're going to probably say, well, the money that I net, right? So now you can bridge that and say, okay, well, since it's the money that you net that's most important for you, then why don't we go ahead and get together for 10 or 15 minutes and go over how we can net you the money that you want. And now if that's something that obviously he wants to do, which he just said it is, then what is the next objection, right? What else are they going to say? Oh, well, I got to talk to my wife. Okay, cool. Well, let me get their confirmation. Well, if your wife is on board, will you be on board as well? Well, yeah. It's like, all right, cool. So then you're already on board. You're telling me that you're on board, right? So I want you guys to look at it from a frame of it's not so much of what they say. It's about the questions that you can ask to get them to agree to something that now you can take and help you reframe the situation to then allow you to get the sale or be able to close. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on this? Cool. Tonality and delivery, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody, there's going to be different, you can say, personalities of people that you're speaking to, right? The way that I learned it, and there's so many ways of learning it, the way that I learned it is driver, right? The driver is the guy that's direct, like just tell me how it is. I don't even care so much about all the analytical stuff, like just cut to the chase, bro. What is it, right? The analytical is somebody that if you're off by a penny on the quote that you give them, they're going to make a big fuzz about it. That's the analytical. That's usually the engineer. You ask them to describe a room, they're going to describe a room based on the square footage, based on the ceiling height. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Kevin. So your tonality, and then the last two are expressives. That's the girl that never shuts the fuck up, right? Always rambling on about all these things and the colors of her curtains and this and that. And then there's the amiable, the sweet old lady that you want to help cross the street. You know, so how you take care of each individual is going to differ. When I'm speaking to an amiable, I'm utilizing verbiage that comforts her archetype, which could be, don't worry, we're going to hold your hand through this and we're going to make sure that we take care of you. You know, that's an amiable, right? When I'm talking to a driver, I'm a little bit more upfront and to the point. Listen, to me, it sounds like you really want to sell your property and you want to be in Florida within the next 30 days. Well, yeah, all right, cool. So let's get together and we'll go ahead and go over everything at our meeting. Cool? Driver, fast, quick to the point. Analytical, you might have to give them more examples of or fill them in onto all the little nuances that could perhaps allow them to digest the structure of the conversation that you're having with them, right? And then the expressive, a lot of the times you got to listen to them, right? But it's all right to cut them off, you know. You have to sometimes. False time constraints, right? The first thing that somebody may be thinking when you're having a conversation with them is how long is this person going to be here? How long is this person going to be on the phone? How long am I going to have a conversation with this guy because I got to get to my next set? How long am I going to talk to this individual for? So what a false time constraint is, it gives the other person an illusion that you're only going to be here for a second. Hey, I'm only going to be here a second. I just wanted to ask you a quick question, right? False time constraint, right? And that allows them to be like, oh, yeah, it's just a quick question. Then 3 questions down, you do another false time constraint. Oh, well, Jose, I got to go. I got to pick up my kids. Yeah, no worries. I'm actually getting an incoming call in a little bit too. But before I let you go, I just had one last question. What do you think about boom? And then that question may lead to other questions, right? False time constraint. So anytime that you're potentially getting that objection of I have to go, a false time constraint is something you could utilize to keep them in the conversation for a little bit longer, right? Embedded commands, right? What is an embedded command? Does anybody know what an embedded command is?
It's using positive language to shape the conversation and kind of plant a positive thought in their head towards what you're trying to accomplish. So not directly saying it, but shaping the conversation.
Right. Sir, I'm not saying that you have to hire me when we meet. All I'm saying is once we get together, we'll go over exactly what your goal is and how we can go ahead and meet that. Is that fair enough? So what I just did there is, I'm not saying that you have to hire me when we meet. That's the embedded command. And what an embedded command basically is influencing your subconscious mind to take action, to listen to the command. Have you ever been in a situation where you're having a conversation with somebody and they're like, I don't know what it is, but like, I just feel very comfortable with you. Like, it's this feeling. Well, it is being influenced by the subconscious mind, right? So you can implant these seeds. Basically, it's a seed that you plant, and then it eventually starts to grow, right? So what are the embedded commands that you can utilize in your scripts, right? I just gave you one of mine. I'm not saying that you have to. You basically you want to pause slightly, but not too much, right? Hire me when we meet. That's a command. Hire me when we meet. I'm not saying that you have to hire me when we meet, and it has a downward. Downswing into not an upward swing. Hire me when we meet, because that's you're not confident. You're asking them a question, right? Instead, you're downswinging on your tonality. Hire me when we meet. I'm not saying that you have to hire me when we meet. All I'm saying is once we get together, it's very subtle, right? And people are not going to catch on to it. So that's how you can plant a seed into somebody's head without them even fucking knowing. All right? Utilize this ethically, please. Tie downs, right? This is all about influencing, right? Tie downs. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody and let's say it's my 10th phone call that I'm having and everybody's telling me no, what oftentimes you may catch other people doing is they may say, oh, well, they start off like, hey, my name is Jose. I was just giving you a quick call because I noticed that your neighbor down the street, Bob, sold, and I was just wondering if you were looking to potentially sell your property. They say no. By the 10th time they say no, they may do a negative tie down and say, hey, I just saw your neighbor, Bob, sell his house down the street. You're not looking to sell your house, are you? That's a negative tie down. You're not looking to sell your house, are you? You're pitching the momentum for them to say no, as opposed to, you've probably thought about selling your house in these last couple of years, have you? You're pitching the momentum for them to say yes, right? So you can apply this in many different, you can say, pitches that you're having, right? So depending on where you are in the conversation, like let's say this guy's uncomfortable with meeting with me because he knows that salespeople are going to pressure him to make a decision. I could easily say to him, well, you're not going to make a decision that's not going to make sense to you, are you? Well, no. Like, all right, cool. So we're just going to get together. If it works for you, then, we could do business. If not, then that's all right. You're okay with that, right? Well, yeah. All right, cool. So am I. So it's a tie down is basically pitching the momentum for them to say either yes or no. And just be very, very aware of that because your energy could potentially shift your words towards you going towards the wrong direction. You know what I mean? So just check that. I already talked about tonality and delivery, right? Body language and anchoring. So I'll give you guys a few examples, right? So if I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm speaking to them about, let's say, the fitness industry, for example, right? And there's a lot of other, there's a lot of other coaches that are going to tell you about all these different things that you have to do. However, you have to get with the right guy that's actually going to put you through the right process that you can actually see results, right? So I very subtly anchored to everybody else, and then when I was talking about the things that I wanted them to actually hear, depending on what that was, I was subtly pointing to myself, right? Another way that I do this is, one of the second questions on the scripts for my listing presentation is, do you want to price your house? All right, so it's, are you okay with pricing your house where it has to sell, where you have to price it so it could sell, or are you okay with it sitting on the market for day after day after day? So if you notice subtly my head movement, are you okay with pricing your house where it has to sell, or do you want it to just sit on the market day after day after day and not sell? I'm subtly influencing them to say yes where I want them and then no where I don't want them to, right? So these are little subtle things that will kind of, it's not like they're just automatically going to say yes or it could instantly work, but it will increase your chances of them saying yes, right? Or you influencing them, right? How did I come up with the money to buy my first car? Oh, shit. HELOC? My first car, bro? I didn't have shit to fucking get an equity line of credit on. Not even the fucking sandals I was wearing. Anybody? How'd I Huh?
Sold your first property?
Nope. It was before that. I was 17 years old in high school still. How'd I come up with the money?
Selling shoes?
Maybe.
Took out a loan?
Nope. I was 17, bro. I wasn't even 18.
That's a curveball right there. Dude, I'm still. I don't think anybody wants to get this, bro.
Huh? Bro, I don't give a fuck. All right. Ooh. I was playing this game called Crazy Eights in school, all right? I was going in and taking everybody's lunch money. I was a savage, bro. I would sit down and everybody would know who the fuck I was, all right? Yeah, that's right. Anyways, it got to the point where, I remember this specific 2 weeks where, I made 500 both weeks, and then I fucking bought a piece of shit Honda Civic that, got me to point A to point B. You know what I mean? That was the hoopty back then, bro, but, we got the radio in, we had the aux, that shit bumped, I'm telling you guys. It was a good experience, but that's, I wanted to go ahead and also share this because you're gonna have moments in your life where you gotta do what you gotta do, right? And you figure out the opportunities. I was literally fucking skipping class to play cards, right? I'm not saying that people should do that, but all I'm saying is I was more interested in making money than listening to these fucking teachers, all right? It's got me a car, what did they get me? Overcoming objections. All right, guys, not all objections are objections. Some objections are complaints, right? They could be just bitching about it. Oh my God, like that's too expensive. Wow, yeah. All right. You know, like you don't have to answer everything, you know, that they're saying. Now, if they give you a specific question, then yeah, you know, you can answer it obviously, but not all objections you have to, because a lot of salespeople, they catch themselves explaining too much. Oh, that's so expensive. Yeah, but this is what it's gonna do for you, and you could do all this and this and that, and they don't give a shit. Now you're qualifying yourself to them, and now they're thinking, oh well, why is he trying to sell me so hard on this, right? A lot of the times they're just complaining about it, and that's okay. It's like, yeah, you know, I get it. You know, it's a little bit more than what you were expecting. That's it. Oh, well, all right, we'll give it a try, you know, or you say it's quality. But if it's an actual objection, this is the easiest way that I've been able to handle objections. This is what's worked for me. I just listen, repeat, and affirm, reframe, and close. That's all it is. Listen, repeat, and affirm, reframe, and close. So what's a problem that maybe one of your clients is having right now, right? Listen to them, whatever that is, repeat and affirm. Oh, okay, so you're struggling with X, Y, and Z. And then reframe. How would it feel if you weren't struggling with X, Y, and Z? How would your life be like? What if it wasn't hard? What if it was easy? You know, because some people think, oh, it's going to be too hard, it's too time consuming. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, you know, it could definitely be time consuming with certain strategies, but what if it wasn't? What if it was actually easy and time efficient? Oh, well, that would be great, because now you have to guide their mindset to where you need them to go so that then you could go ahead and close. Influence their minds first, then close. Right? Any questions on that? Cool. Share stories with analogies that provide a reframe to their perspective, right? So the Rolex example, for example, right? A for sale by owner is telling me like, oh, I just want to sell my house, you know, for sale by owner, and I meet with them in person, and I have a conversation with them. It's like, well, let me ask you a question, right? Let's say you go to a Rolex store today, right? And you buy a Rolex, let's say for $10,000, right? And then tomorrow you figure out that you have this thing and for whatever reason you can't return it and you have to sell it at your garage sale, right? And you put it up as for sale on your garage sale. Do you think that you'll get the same amount of money that you got at the store, at the retail store? They're going to be like, well, no. Right. So selling it for sale by owner is just like selling that Rolex at a garage sales, right? Because when you're selling it at a retail store and a salesperson is actually behind it, you don't feel like you're getting a bad deal. You actually feel like you're getting the right deal. That's what happens when a salesperson is behind the transaction. But if you're just trying to sell it on your own, people are going to haggle you for a lower price. They're going to try to get a deal. They're going to be like, oh, well, you know, it's not at the store, so I can actually bargain with this guy. And I just don't want that to happen to you, you know? So that's a story that I can use to sell, right? To give them more of a perspective that they can possibly relate to. How can you give your clients a perspective that it will allow them to truly understand the benefit of what it is that you're doing for them? These you can craft, and you got to spend time. Write these things down. Brainstorm with your salespeople, you know, and take time and say, okay, well, what are some analogies that I can craft based on the demographic of the people that I'm helping and the solutions that I can provide for them, you know? And then start going through examples. Drill these examples. Role play these examples. The next thing you know, you'll all of a sudden be a natural. And then just talk to more people, right? Oh, this person said no. Just talk to when you're selling at first. You may have to talk to 1,000 people to get one sale. But as you continue to get better, you may only have to talk to 100 people to get one sale, right? It's all a numbers game. To the level of degree of your skill set, the less people you'll have to talk to. But if your skill set is very low, it's just a matter of volume. You'll eventually get somebody that wants to buy or wants to sell, depending on what it is that you're doing. Volume. So at first, for me, it was volume. Those first 8 months, it was volume until my skills caught up to par. Now I'm very confident and comfortable when I'm speaking to somebody, right? And my conversion rate is a lot better because of it. I want to go ahead and quickly show you guys this video because I want you guys to to not just hear me talk about it, but I want you guys to actually see it, right? A day in a life as a real estate agent. I recorded this video back in 2018. And it's not just me sitting here talking to you guys about it. This is me actually fucking doing it, right? Mornings was the best time for me to capitalize on spending that time with myself so that later on I can take care of everybody else. First one in. First one in. Boom. Turning on all the lights. Let's fucking go, bro. 18-year-old Jose. And here I am talking to you guys about the same shit I was doing and I'm still fucking doing, right? Now, I wanted to save the last question because if you noticed, I mentioned that there were 7 critical questions to ask yourself and I only presented 6. Well, this is going to be the 7th, right? I think it's very important for you guys to answer this question. What honest story would you like for others to tell about you once you're no longer here? What honest story would you like for others to tell about you once you're no longer here? What are people going to say about you, honestly, right? 80, 90, 100 years go by. If you're vegan, let's say 150, you know? What are people going to say about you? Did they say that maybe you made a shit ton of money, but you didn't really help as many people as you could have helped, and you really didn't touch and connect with as many people and really created a big impact? Perhaps you just did what you wanted to do, but what about your legacy? What about everything else that you did? And maybe you don't care about that, right? Perhaps you don't care about that, but maybe you do. How are people going to talk about you? How many lives did you touch? 5 to 10 to 20 years from now, are you going to be in the same position that you're in today? Or are you going to drastically improve your condition and then be able to look back, just like I'm doing now, and saying, holy shit, I was talking about me in that video, and now I'm here. You know what I mean? And now I'm talking about the next version of Jose, and I can't wait to get there, right? I mean, the house is already being built next door. You see what I mean? So, like, always have things. That's why I showed you guys the timeline in the beginning. This is me doing real shit, and nobody can take that away from me, right? So that's why every single day I wake up with a smile, and I don't give a fuck what the haters say, because I've done this, and I'm continuing to do this, and I will never stop to do this. So contemplate on that question. Write it down if you haven't already, and meditate on it. Allow yourselves to plant the proper seeds that will grow into beautiful trees that will inspire you and the next generation to come. Allow yourself that, because it's there, and it will naturally happen if you do. Thank you, guys.
My name is Brian Heilman, and I came all the way from California to New Jersey just to meet these wonderful 3 individuals, Jose, David, and Brian. And I learned a lot from this Conversion Summit. Good advice that I can tailor towards my investment business, and a lot of sales, and a lot of gold that I'm definitely going to apply into my business right when I get back into my city. Worth every single penny. I should have paid more.
Perfect.
My name is Devin. I just attended the Conversion Summit. Overall, it was awesome. We had all 3 speakers here, Jose, David, and Brian, and it was great. Everything went pretty smoothly. I think main takeaways from the event that I got, a lot of sales knowledge, which is pretty good, and a lot of mindset things as well, which really allows me to kind of make sure that I'm going in the right direction with my business. So I thought overall it was pretty awesome. I loved it.
All right, what's up, guys? This is Kiro Malik. I just finished attending the Conversion Summit, and man, it was just so great. A lot of wisdom, a lot of people, and a lot of knowledge that got passed down. What I always tell people is take advantage of being in rooms like this. I learned a lot today, sitting in from the panel. Jose, David, Brian just had a great message to share, and it's really good. We took a lot of key takeaways from everybody, and just hoping to take that and implement it in our business and keep improving and climbing. So I would definitely recommend that people get around all these people and learn more, and just know exactly how to improve and keep improving on the journey.
What's up, guys? My name is Matt Schulman. Today I have attended the Conversion Summit, and something I learned today was that you should develop relationships in business because relationships are what makes the business successful.
Hello, I'm Leo. I just attended the Conversion Summit. I had a great experience. The biggest takeaway that I had was being able to meet multimillionaires and hear their story. And for me in my business, the hardest thing is starting out and trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And talking with these guys and seeing how they were able to achieve that was super helpful for me in order to get ideas, in order to get from that starting position to getting my first few clients.
Yo, what up everybody? My name is Emmanuel, aka Manny. I just attended the Conversion Summit, learned a shit ton of valuable information that I'm gonna go home and fucking apply. Most specifically, I learned a couple things around my offer. I own a digital marketing agency, and I'm offering, when I close, I offer a one-call close, but I'm not seeing good results. So I got some tips from Brian, David, and Jose, and I'm gonna start doing a two-call close to see how my numbers look and see if I can increase revenue that way. But overall, amazing event. I definitely recommend anybody watching this to show up to the next event because I promise you, you will get your money's worth. Let's go.
Hey guys, Timothy here. Just at the Conversion Summit, Jose, David, and Brian had a really good presentation on all their presentations. I had a lot of good takeaways. One takeaway I would take away from myself and implement at home is maybe it's not that I'm struggling because of a lead problem. Maybe because I'm struggling because of a setup problem. Maybe I'm not even setting myself up for the situation where I can set up the lead for a better outcome for them, and not only for myself, but for them. I have to look at it in the eyes where it's their problem at the end of the day, and I'm just trying to fix it. I'm not here to offer anybody, money out of the back of my pocket.
How's it going, guys? My name is Jaden. Just attended the Conversion Summit. Had a wonderful time with all the speakers, learned a lot of great things. It's just a wonderful environment to be in. Out here with David right here and all the other speakers. They taught about many good things, taught us how to get more sales, how to grow as a person, how to grow your circle of friends. Yeah, definitely a great experience, and I would like to hear these people talk more and teach us a lot more great things. One takeaway is to really value your network a lot more. So the people you spend your time with, the things that you do, the things that you talk about, and just using a network of good people to level up yourself. That's the one thing I learned, best thing.
All right, everybody, so we just closed out the Conversion Summit event. All three speakers got a chance to speak, deliver value, impact lives, and everybody left with some valuable information that they are now capable of applying to better their life, better their business, and win the game of life. So I'm so happy about the turnout. There are so many things that people could have been doing today, and they chose to come here to this event to see us speak, to ask questions, to really just better their game, right? And it's amazing how many people we actually had turn out and how many smiles we got to put on people's faces walking out. And I would like to think that we did a great job, and I look forward to the next one because there will be a next one, right? So if you weren't able to make it, maybe you'll find the recording somewhere in the internet, perhaps, or you can come to the next one, all right? The next one hasn't been announced yet, but if there is, I can tell you guys, obviously, if I'll be speaking at it, I'm obviously gonna tell you guys to come, but based on the reviews and the testimonials that we've received so far, we think it's gonna be a great one and maybe even better. So highly recommend that you guys show up to the next one. You don't wanna miss out the next possible solution that could help you with your problems and take it into the next level. Catch you guys later.